They told you to sit still, to follow the rules, to play nice, dream small, and not ask too many questions. They never taught you how to think, only how to repeat, how to be a good boy, a quiet girl, a worker, a number. They said life is about getting in line, but they never told you that most people die there. They gave you a script, school, job, debt, silence. They sold it as a blueprint, but it was a cage. And you? You were never meant to fit it. You were meant to break it, to outgrow every lie they ever wrapped in the word normal. You were not born for comfort. You were born for fire, for clarity, for becoming. You don't need permission to evolve. You don't need validation to begin. And you damn sure don't need their applause to become what you are. They taught you to fear failure. But failure is not the enemy. Forgetfulness is. Forgetting who you are. Forgetting what lights you up. Forgetting the dream you buried to make others comfortable. So wake up. You are not broken. You are becoming. Break their patterns. Bend their rules. Burn their maps. Write your own. Because if you don't master your life, the world will do it for you, and it will hand you a cheap imitation, a version that pleases everyone but fulfills no one. So ask yourself, whose voice are you living by? Whose approval are you addicted to? And what would your life look like if you stopped trying to be liked and started trying to be real? Outgrow the lies. Outgrow the noise. Outgrow the small version of yourself they taught you to accept. Because you were not born to fit in. You were born to wake people up, simply by being someone who refuses to fall asleep. I know because I lived it. They handed me the same script, folded neat, pressed with expectations. But I crumpled it, tossed it in the fire, and I watched it burn like every falsehood I was taught. They told me to follow the rules. I wrote my own. They told me to fear judgment. I laughed at it. There is no freedom in living for the nods of those who've never built anything bold. I'd rather be misunderstood in truth than applauded in disguise. I'd rather be called a fool for walking my own road than praised for marching in someone else's parade. And you're no different. The fire in you burns just the same. So don't wait for them to hand you a crown. Forge it. Don't ask to be seen. Make yourself unforgettable. That's what I did. And if I could rise from nothing but words and will, so can you. So listen. Let them call you reckless. Let them say you've lost your way. But I say, you've finally found it. And the path? It doesn't come with signs or permission. It comes with scars and soul. Speak your truth, even if your voice shakes. Build your life, even if your hands tremble. You don't owe this world your silence. You owe it your story, not the polished one, the real one, the one with dirt and sweat and dreams stitched into the seams, the one that says, I didn't come here to live quietly, because neither did I. I came to stir the pot, to poke holes in their certainty, to outgrow every lie dressed as wisdom. And I did. Now it's your turn, not to imitate me, but to meet the version of yourself that doesn't ask for permission to shine. He's already there, waiting. So go, outgrow the lies, and light the damn fire. I spent years watching men trade their spark for approval. They'd shrink themselves to fit into someone else's frame, then wonder why they felt hollow. They called it growing up. I called it growing down. Maturity isn't silence, it's clarity. It's knowing when to roar and when to walk away. It's choosing peace over noise, but never at the cost of your truth. And let me tell you, there is no pride in being agreeable if it means betraying your soul. Don't waste your life sanding down your edges to be more palatable. The world doesn't need another copy. It needs the bold original you've been hiding beneath layers of politeness. If they flinch at your fire, let them burn. You're not here to keep them warm, you're here to light the way. There's a difference between comfort and contentment. One keeps you still, the other lets you rest. I've seen too many folks confuse the two, trapped in jobs they hate, routines that numb them, surrounded by people who clap but never see them. Don't call it peace just because it's quiet. A graveyard is quiet too. You want to know what contentment really is? It's looking yourself in the mirror and knowing, I am who I say I am. Not what they expect, not what's easiest, but what's true. If your life feels small, don't blame fate. Start asking why you built it with someone else's blueprints. Then burn the blueprints and start again. You were born with the most dangerous thing in the world, an idea. One unshakable belief can outlive empires. One truth, spoken boldly, can shatter generations of silence. But here's the catch. Ideas are only dangerous when you act on them. 1,000 dreams sit rotting in graveyards, not because they were impossible, but because their owners were waiting for the right time. Let me tell you something. The right time is a myth. It doesn't arrive. It's declared. So declare it. Put your hands on the wheel. Crash if you must, but drive, because life's not meant to be watched. It's meant to be gripped. People talk about luck like it's a lottery ticket, but I've found luck tends to show up when you do. It doesn't knock on the door of the man who's asleep. It finds the one already swinging the hammer, building in the dark. I wasn't lucky when I failed. I was forged. And when the world laughed, I leaned into the sound, because ridicule is just applause from the weak. You want to change your life? Start showing up before the lights come on. Start building when no one's clapping. Start writing the damn book before they believe you can. Because luck favors those who stop waiting for permission and start making noise. Discipline isn't a chore, it's devotion. It's saying yes to your future and no to every fleeting moment that tries to steal it. I wasn't the smartest, but I outlasted smarter men who got distracted by comfort. Every day, the world will offer you shortcuts, cheap thrills, quick wins, easier routes, but none of them lead where you're trying to go. The path to becoming someone worth remembering? It's paved in small, repeated choices. It's not sexy, it's not loud, it's earned in silence. So get boring, get consistent, become the person who does it anyway. And one day, when the noise settles, they'll call it genius. You can't pour clean water through a filthy pipe, and you can't build a life of clarity with a cluttered mind. Every thought you entertain is a brick in your foundation. So ask yourself, are you building a fortress or a prison? Most men don't need more time. They need fewer distractions, fewer opinions, fewer excuses dressed as wisdom. You can't hear your calling when the volume's up on everyone else's voice. So turn it down, unfollow, unplug, unlearn. Because clarity isn't something you stumble into. It's something you clear the rubble to find. And once you find it, don't ever let it go. The world will try to sell you happiness like it comes in a bottle. They'll say it's in the next promotion, the next gadget, the next hand clapping for you. But here's what I've learned. Real joy doesn't make noise. It doesn't brag. It just feels like home inside your bones. I found happiness not when I arrived somewhere, but when I stopped running from myself. So stop chasing. Start listening. You don't need a new destination. You need to come back to the one place you've ignored the longest, your own voice. Most men fear the unknown. I feared becoming known for something I wasn't proud of. Reputation is borrowed, but character is earned in the dark. You want to become unforgettable. Start telling the truth, even when it's uncomfortable. Start doing what's right, even when no one is watching. It's not who you pretend to be when the lights are on. It's who you are when you're alone with your thoughts. That's the man people feel when you walk in the room. That's the man the world remembers. You were not born to manage life. You were born to command it, to sculpt it, speak it, storm into it with open eyes and a spine of iron. But somewhere along the way, they told you to be careful, to shrink, to choose safety over fire. They handed you fear, dressed it up as wisdom, and told you to be realistic. But I'll tell you the truth. Caution kills more dreams than failure ever could. I didn't write to play it safe. I wrote to shake the ground beneath the reader's feet. And you? You're not here to tiptoe. You're here to tremble the ground too. People spend their whole lives waiting to be ready, waiting for the timing to be perfect, waiting for someone to choose them. Let me break it to you. No one is coming to rescue you. You are the hero you've been hoping for. And readiness, it doesn't show up first. It shows up after you begin. So take the risk. Make the move. Speak the truth with your knees shaking. You don't need more time. You need a decision. When I was younger, I tried to impress people. Now I aim to impact them. There's a difference. Impression fades. Impact echoes. You don't need flash. You need fire. You don't need 1,000,000 followers. You need a message worth carrying in the chest of one bold soul. Write the words. Say the hard thing. Build what matters, even if it's messy. Because when you speak from your scars, someone else heals in silence.
There's no such thing as a self-made man. We're all built by what we overcome. Pain is a sculptor, not a sentence. It doesn't come to destroy you. It comes to chisel away what isn't true. So don't curse your hardships. Don't run from the fire. Become the steel that's shaped inside it. Every bruise on your story is a signature, a mark that says, this one's been through something, and he kept going anyway. That's not weakness. That's your proof of life. You want to feel alive? Stop trying to avoid discomfort. Growth doesn't show up with an invitation. It shows up disguised as frustration, boredom, heartbreak, failure. I didn't learn anything worth knowing when life was easy. Comfort makes you soft. Tension builds toughness. So don't pray for the path to be smooth. Pray for the spine to walk it when it's steep. Because the man who becomes unstoppable isn't the one who had it easy. It's the one who kept going when it wasn't. Comparison is a thief with polished shoes. It'll sneak into your soul and rob you of everything real. You scroll past strangers and start to question your own worth. You see highlight reels and forget they're edited. You measure your behind the scenes against someone else's show. But let me ask you, have you watered your own garden today? Because envy grows fastest in neglected soil. Your story is not behind, it's unfolding, and it's not meant to look like anyone else's. So stop watching, start planting. There's a quiet kind of confidence that doesn't shout, it just shows up, steady. It knows what it carries. It doesn't need approval to walk into the room. That's the kind of strength I learned to respect, not the puffed up chest, loud-mouthed kind, but the kind that comes from knowing who you are and never needing to explain it. Let the world wonder. Let them misread you. You're not here to be understood by the shallow. You're here to be felt by the deep. There's a war going on inside you. One voice says, play it safe. The other whispers, burn the map. And every day you wake up, you get to choose which one you listen to. I've listened to both. One gave me a quiet life. The other gave me a damn good story. You weren't born to be kept. You were born to be tested, to wander, to build, to speak, to roar. They'll tell you you're reckless. Good. Be reckless with your time, your truth, your talents. Because playing it safe is just another way to go quietly. And I refuse to go quietly. You want to live loud? Start now. Speak like your words carry weight. Walk like your steps matter. Write your name in sweat, in courage, in choices most men are too scared to make. Because no one's coming to crown you. You crown yourself through how you rise after the fall. And when it hurts, good. Pain is the cost of transformation. I've been gutted by failure more than once. But every time I broke, I found a sharper version of myself beneath the pieces. Most folks try to hide the cracks, but not me. I let them show, because every scar tells a story, and every story reminds someone else that they're not alone. You want to lead? Start by being real. Start by being the first one in the room who doesn't pretend they've got it all figured out. Because that's where trust lives. That's where influence starts. Some days, you'll wake up and not feel like the man you're trying to become. That's normal. Don't let the feeling fool you. You're still becoming. Discipline doesn't always feel heroic. Most of the time, it feels quiet. It feels like doing the thing anyway, when no one's watching, and your doubt is screaming louder than your drive. But that's the forge. That's where men are made, not in spotlight, but in solitude. If you want to build something that lasts, start with what's honest, not what sells, not what pleases the crowd. Build from the stuff you bleed for, from the truth that scares you to speak out loud. Because that's where legacy lives. I didn't write to impress. I wrote because silence would have killed me. And that's how you know you're on the right path, when not doing the thing hurts more than risking it all to do it. Everyone wants to go viral, but no one wants to go deep. Let them chase clicks. You chase meaning. You don't need mass attention. You need impact in one heart, one life, one mind that changes because you showed up. Because here's the truth. 1 million views won't matter if you're lying in every frame. But a single sentence, said with soul, can change someone's direction forever. Speak like that. Live like that. That's real influence. There's a war going on inside you. One voice says, play it safe. The other whispers, burn the map. And every day you wake up, you get to choose which one you listen to. I've listened to both. One gave me a quiet life. The other gave me a damn good story. You weren't born to be kept. You were born to be tested, to wander, to build, to speak, to roar. They'll tell you you're reckless. Good. Be reckless with your time, your truth, your talents. Because playing it safe is just another way to go quietly. And I refuse to go quietly. You want to live loud? Start now. Speak like your words carry weight. Walk like your steps matter. Write your name in sweat, in courage, in choices most men are too scared to make. Because no one's coming to crown you. You crown yourself through how you rise after the fall. And when it hurts, good. Pain is the cost of transformation. I've been gutted by failure more than once. But every time I broke, I found a sharper version of myself beneath the pieces. Most folks try to hide the cracks, but not me. I let them show, because every scar tells a story, and every story reminds someone else that they're not alone. You want to lead? Start by being real. Start by being the first one in the room who doesn't pretend they've got it all figured out. Because that's where trust lives. That's where influence starts. Some days, you'll wake up and not feel like the man you're trying to become. That's normal. Don't let the feeling fool you. You're still becoming. Discipline doesn't always feel heroic. Most of the time, it feels quiet. It feels like doing the thing anyway, when no one's watching, and your doubt is screaming louder than your drive. But that's the forge. That's where men are made, not in spotlight, but in solitude. If you want to build something that lasts, start with what's honest, not what sells, not what pleases the crowd. Build from the stuff you bleed for, from the truth that scares you to speak out loud. Because that's where legacy lives. I didn't write to impress. I wrote because silence would have killed me. And that's how you know you're on the right path, when not doing the thing hurts more than risking it all to do it. Everyone wants to go viral, but no one wants to go deep. Let them chase clicks.
you chase meaning. You don't need mass attention, you need impact in one heart, one life, one mind that changes because you showed up. Because here's the truth, 1,000,000 views won't matter if you're lying in every frame, but a single sentence said with soul can change someone's direction forever. Speak like that, live like that. That's real influence. Let me tell you what most men forget. You don't rise by waiting, you rise by deciding. You don't need more signs, you need fewer excuses, because at some point, hesitation becomes habit, and the longer you delay, the heavier your dreams become, until you're dragging them like chains behind you. So drop the fear, drop the need to know how it ends. You weren't born to watch the story, you were born to write it. Start ugly, start now. There was a time I cared what they thought. Then I watched those same people trade their souls for comfort, and I realized their opinion was never worth more than my conviction. You want to build something real? You'll have to let some people misunderstand you. You'll have to be too much for the timid, too bold for the broken, too alive for the ones still asleep. But that's the price. That's the sign you're on the right road, the one that scares small minds. The truth is, becoming yourself is a messy thing. It means letting go of who you were told to be. It means saying no to people who once clapped for you. It means silence, doubt, and days when the only person who believes in you is you. Good. That's the fire. No man ever changed the world by being comfortable, and no soul ever found peace by pretending. So let it be messy, let it be loud, let it be real. That's how you build something that lasts. You were not born to echo, you were born to thunder, but you'll never find your voice while trying to sound like theirs. The world doesn't need another version of what already exists. It needs you, unfiltered, unpolished, unapologetic. So stop dimming your light to fit inside a room too small for your fire. Stop apologizing for the shape of your soul. Speak boldly, stand firm. Be the kind of presence that rewrites the atmosphere the second you enter it. And if they call you arrogant for it, let them. Because confidence makes cowards uncomfortable. But courage makes kings. And you don't need a crown to lead. You don't need a platform to speak truth. You lead when you live like your values are non-negotiable. You speak truth when you stop watering it down to be liked. You want to change your world? Then stop whispering what you know you were meant to shout. The world is full of noise. Be the signal. They told you to be humble. I say, be honest. Real humility isn't shrinking. It's standing tall and still knowing you're unfinished. It's knowing your power and not abusing it. Knowing your worth and not begging others to confirm it. The loudest man in the room is rarely the strongest. I've learned that strength whispers. It doesn't need to announce itself. It arrives and is felt. So stand in it. Speak with it. Not to dominate, but to awaken. Now here's something they won't print in books. You don't find purpose. You forge it. From failure, from fire, from the parts of yourself you didn't think mattered. Purpose isn't hiding. It's buried under distractions, bad habits, and years of following a path that never belonged to you. Dig it out. Clarity doesn't come from sitting still. It comes from movement, from doing, failing, adjusting, and doing again. That's the alchemy of becoming. You don't need a map. You need momentum. And as you move, something strange happens. You stop asking for validation. You stop chasing things that sparkle but don't sustain. You start craving depth, quiet, integrity. You start listening, not to the world, but to your own soul. And your soul knows. It knows when you're faking it. It knows when you're selling yourself short. It knows when you're betraying the fire just to be liked. You can't lie to your soul and call it success. So make your life honest. Make it aligned. Make it louder in action than in announcement. You want to build legacy? Show up every day like your name means something, not just on the stage, but in the silence, not just in your words, but in your walk. Because eventually, everything that isn't rooted in truth burns. And you'll still be standing. Because when you build yourself on the rock of who you really are, no storm can shake it. Not the critics, not the setbacks, not the silence. So walk boldly, live honestly, love deeply. Leave a wake behind you that makes others remember who they are too. And when they ask what happened to you, tell them the truth. I stopped being who they expected and became who I am. That's how you outgrow the lies. That's how you light the fire. And that's how you stay free.